Hello, my name is Larry Martin and I'm a solutions consultant with Beyond 20. Today I'm going to show you how to run through the life cycle of an incident. So one of the first things when you're in Cherwell, to create a new incident, the easiest way is to hit Control-Shift-I, which is a keyboard shortcut, or to hit this new button and select Incident. You can also come to File, we'll give this a second. You can also come to File, New, and then select Incident. But I find it's easiest to either Control-Shift-I or use the New drop down. Now out of the box there are a couple fields that are required. Obviously there's lots of customization that can be done within Cherwell. Out of the box the required fields are the requester, and I forget this is a demo system so I'm not in it as a customer. So we'll use Henri. So if we search for Henri, since he's the only Henri in the system, it's going to auto-populate his name when we hit Tab. Also, his email address here out of the box will populate an email that would be sent to Henri, and we can put in some information like what we need from him, or what we want to relate to him. I'm going to cancel that because I don't have email set up. Our next required fields are short description and our description. Now obviously you want to put some descriptive descriptions in there. You may need to find this ticket through a grid at some point. So seeing the description with some good information, especially if you're dealing with a major incident and you want to link an incident to that major incident. Or if this incident becomes a major incident, you want a good description so that when other incidents are being created, it's easy for someone to link them to an existing major incident. Call source, if we're creating it in the rich client, it defaults to phone. However, it could be set to default to a walk-in or some other call source that you define in the system. But out of the box, it defaults to phone. Next required field is priority. However, priority being a required field, that allows us to save the record. But if we then begin work, we have no service category or subcategory. Most of our clients, we will actually make these required as well. And out of the box, you choose a service, then your categories are limited to the categories for that service, and then your subcategory is further limited. But did you notice my priority field got cleared? So it's good practice to classify your ticket if you can. Now many service desks, help desks, etc. will not make this required because they know what the priority is, but they may not know what the classification is until they've gotten a little more information or done a little. So it's totally up to your environment as to whether or not you make these required for save, required before you can move to in progress, etc. But just remember that once you change the services categories, subcategories, your priority is going to get wiped out. And now if I try to save the record, I'm going to get an error. So we want to make sure that we set that. I went through and chose one by one the first time. And if you noticed, I cleared those classifications. I can also search by typing in the word desktop, hitting enter, and anywhere that the word desktop shows up in a service category or subcategory, they will now show up in my search window to make it a little bit easier for me to figure out what the classification for this ticket is. And now I'm going to make it a priority 4 and resave it. So that's how we create an incident. That's how we move it to in progress. There are going to be times when you have an incident that you're working on and you're going to want to set it to pending so that your SLA stops tracking. So to do that, Down here you have the Set Pending option. You're going to be prompted for a pending reason, and out of the box you have these options. I'm going to choose Customer is Unavailable. And now our pending, we have our status, the customer is unavailable. We have a 1 week review deadline, so in 1 week we're expected to have either move this back out of pending once we've gotten the response back, or the reason that we're pending is no longer true. We can remove the pending status and it'll take us back to in progress, because that's the status that we pended it from. So your remove from pending will put you back into the status that was there before you pended the ticket. Now, as we're going along out of the box, if I need to track my work, I need to either create tasks and or journal notes to track what I'm doing. So to create a task for myself or someone else, I just hit the new task or the task tab and then the new task. That's going to bring up a new task. Tasks work very similar to incidents. You can drag this splitter over. The title is going to be Do Something, and the description is going to be the description of what the Do Something is. I can take ownership, or I can assign it to a team, and or I can assign an owner. If I know exactly who is going to perform that body of work because it's a customized body of work, I can assign it directly to that person. Then whenever they get it, they will acknowledge their task, they'll set it in progress, they'll do their work, and then they'll close it. Now, one of the things about incidents is before they can get to a resolved status, all tasks must be closed. Otherwise, it will not move forward to the resolved status, and you'll get an error message. And by that, I'm referring to this. The incident has open task. All tasks must be closed before it can be resolved. So I'm still in progress status. I did not resolve. So we'll close the task out. We'll give it a close code of completed. And now that the task is closed, now we can resolve our incident. We'll put what was done. We finished X. And our completion calls code is we needed to set some permissions. Now the ticket's resolved. Now, out of the box, you'll have to configure it because there is an expression that prevents it from working to make sure that you have your email system set up. But out of the box, once you resolve an incident, an email will go to the customer and tell them that, hey, we believe we have completed the work for you. If you don't agree with that, you can click here to reopen the incident. That gives the customer an opportunity to say, well, no, that's not complete yet. And so they can respond to that email. And if they do respond, then this will go back to a reopen status, which will allow you to continue working. I'm going to create a new incident again. And we'll pick Henri again. And I'm just going to go ahead and classify. It's just a habit I have. And we'll save the record. Now the other thing you might do is you'll begin your work. I'm so used to having the owner selected. Out of the box, an owner must be chosen before the ticket can be moved to in progress or begin work. So I'm just going to take ownership here. I'm not a member of a team, but now I can begin work. So the other thing I was going to show you is not only can you assign tasks, but you can also do journals. And this is another way, if you're the owner of the ticket, you don't necessarily need a task to do the work. You can simply come in here and create a journal and say, I did X. And with that journal, you just save the record, and that new journal is now listed in the journal entries. Out of the box, those are visible in the portal, so you may want to uncheck that or not. It depends on your environment. And each company is going to differ on that. A couple other things that you can see in an incident. You can escalate it to tier 2 and then to tier 3 if need be. View detailed date time information is just going to show you some basic milestones, like the incident was created, it was responded, when it was resolved, etc. Link to an existing major incident. You can click this, and this is why I said it's important to make sure you have a good description. With that description, you can say, yep, this incident's also related to the current open, in this case it's closed, but the current open incident of we can't log into PeopleSoft. And that way, whenever you finally close that major incident, there's a one step that will allow you to close all of the linked incidents as well. You can submit it to the knowledge base, so that'll bring a few fields of data from the incident to a new knowledge article, and then you can follow your knowledge article process. You can track time. This will allow you to say, I spent 1 hour on this ticket, and it'll track that time. And what did you do for that hour? I did a test. You can also, this is a service catalog template. I choose a bad example because we're not going to review service catalog templates in this email. But basically they're a set of automation for tasks that you can use out of the box. We looked at set pending. If the incident is linked to a major incident, that'll show up here. You have a change request that you can link it to. So if there's a change request we want to link it to, we can do that. Same with problems. We can link this incident to a problem. Also, Henri's open tickets or incidents, we can see any other incidents that he's had. It's a good idea to filter this so that to go in and modify this so it only shows like the last 30 days or 90 days of records, because after you've had your system for a year or more, this list can get quite lengthy and it may not be as useful. If you highlight one of these, it'll show it. You can even use the blue arrow here to go to that incident and see the details of it. Now when you do that, you've lost the incident that you were on, but you can always go back. So anyhow, this is general walkthrough of how to take an incident through its life cycle. Again, you never close it. In most systems, you never close an incident. You simply take it to the resolve status, give your information, and then the system will take it to closed while sending an email to the customer saying, hey, we're resolving your incident, and the customer can reopen it. If they haven't responded in that 3-day window, then the system will actually move the ticket to closed and lock everything out. I hope you find this useful. There's a ton of modification that can be made. So if you're a Cherwell customer who's looking at this video for guidance, just be aware that your administrator may have changed things so that they work a little differently than what I've described here in this video. In the meantime, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have comments, you can leave them there. If you have questions, we do produce these videos every week. And if you leave a comment or a question, we'll respond either with a video answering your question or we'll send it